Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Kayla Hamric, and I'm here with Bosstrack. We're a company that is very passionately dedicated to empowering women in the workplace. We understand those challenges and obstacles that are faced in the business world, and we strive to provide support, provide resources, and a community to help those individuals excel and break through those barriers. We also believe that wellness plays a very paramount role in the growth and success of leaders in the workplace. We believe that prioritizing wellness will give you a competitive edge, and when leaders invest in their physical, mental, and emotional well being, they cultivate resilience and enhance their ability to adapt to change and maintain a balanced perspective. So, today we are very lucky to have the special Amy McKay to come talk to us a little bit about that wellness and leadership roles.
Fabulous. Thank you, Kayla. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I hope to share some really good tips and resources for you guys to be able to put to use right away for long-term and short-term success. So I I'm a coach, an executive coach, and my specialties are in, I say I help organizations reduce stress and have more success. My focus is on emotional intelligence and well-being, basically. And at the end of the day, organizations always want to make money, so we can't leave out that the end goal, is to enjoy the journey, but obviously meet the bottom line as well, right?
Of
But take
course,
care
we
of
have to have
ourselves in the
that
process.
balance.
Yeah, find the
Yes,
balance, right? It's finding that balance. That's what we
it
want to
really
do.
is.
Yeah, and I want to use emotional intelligence-based skills to even figure out what well-being we need. What leadership skills do we need? What well-being steps do we need to take? I mean, those are all emotional intelligence-based types,
It
self-awareness
really is.
questions. So, yeah.
I know.
And
So,
then how to
like,
communicate with a team when you're a leader, right?
ah,
You have to have emotional
oh my
intelligence.
gosh. And then having that leader who knows that balance definitely helps create a very well put together team who can
Team and space.
go forward and also provide that for people who are following them.
Yeah,
So it's kind
definitely.
of like a trickling effect.
Definitely. That leader has to be able to hold space for the and practice the things that they want their team to implement. You can't just walk around telling them how it's supposed to be. You have to be modeling that and how you
Exactly.
think and speak and behave for sure. Yeah. Otherwise it falls apart.
I know, right? And do you have
Yeah.
any specific strategies that we believe these leaders could take to enhance their emotional intelligence and strengthen their leadership skills?
I'm a firm believer in starting with core values, because if you understand your core values, that gives you an understanding of who you are, and then you're going to know if you're not aligned with them. You're going to know if are you acting, are you feeling, are you behaving, are you doing these things that core values. Your top five. I always suggest get your top five, and then try to have relationships that model those. Behave that way at in your leadership role, and choose your wellness based off that. As well, and
That's
then
a very strong
something.
point.
Yeah, that's just something you can't do that. And then um, block scheduling is another thing. I feel like people are really stressed
Oh,
in this.
yeah.
These are two really simple things. So simple, two strategies right here. Get your core value. You can Google core values on the internet. You can email whatever. Narrow down to top five, and then block schedule. So if you block schedule, I work best in like 90-minute increments. So if I can schedule it in 90-minute increments and be like, okay, I'm not touching email, I'm not touching social media. I'm going to do this for 90 minutes. The amount of things I get done in that 90 minutes is so powerful and so unbelievable. And if you can just do that, and then also in there, block schedule your self-care. And then it's not so overwhelming, because otherwise, when we don't block schedule, what happens is it's a never ending list of things to do. And then we don't feel satisfied. And then it's just
Yeah.
overwhelming. So if we can block schedule and be like, okay, satisfied, I got this done. And then you can see, oh my gosh, I just worked and some people do better at 2 hours, figure out what it is. It could be 30 minutes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, different
But
per person. You have to
different,
figure
different
out
per
what works
person.
for you.
Again, that's an emotional intelligence, self-awareness skill, is to know,
Mhm.
hey, is that and it took me a while to figure it out. And I do have to sometimes be like, okay, shut the door, turn over the phone, don't touch anything. 90 minutes, Amy. Set a timer
It
for 90
really is.
minutes.
And I've experienced that myself. Back in college, I was a student athlete, and so the first half of my college career, I didn't realize how block scheduling would really impact my life. And so I was struggling and not knowing like when to start and stop projects or my athletics to be, for
Or
example.
it all just blends together. It's just
It
stress. And
really
it's
does.
no longer fun either.
Yeah, and so then once I learned that through other people and teachers and mentors that I looked up to, they taught me this, and what a world difference it made. And now I
Yeah.
can bring that into my business life,
In
and
your
I love that
business.
you brought up that stuff.
Yeah, it's such a simple thing, but we just overlook. And then I actually express it to people in leadership positions, and I ask them when they're to their team members to suggest the same thing. You need to block schedule. Show them how to block schedule. So, and show them your values and have a team set of values. Then everybody's on the
Yeah,
same page. They understand the why. They understand where you're going, where you're coming from. It's just easier to communicate and enjoy what you're doing and still get things done.
that's amazing. I totally agree with your points on that. And how would you kind of go about trying to make clear decisions as a leader and not bouncing between ideas, but also taking in consideration other people's thoughts?
So again, I think that comes with self-awareness, like when you and your
Mhm.
values. So when you have values, you have self-awareness and you understand, with self-awareness comes knowing your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns, patterns of behavior, patterns of thinking, the way you're feeling, all of those things, and emotional intelligence, like being able to name what you're feeling, understanding, using empathy when you're communicating with somebody. I mean, these are really powerful, simple steps to be just able to fulfill your role, basically.
It really is, and I feel like that kind of connects into, like, our day and age, like, today, where a lot of, like, social aspects and expectations and norms are played into effect, and so trying to find that balance on where to prioritize your health and well-being, but also being respected and creating that leadership opportunity.
It is. The I get kind of frustrated. I'm probably significantly older than you, as I'm almost 50. But as I was growing up, it was really like we were taught to not ask for help, like that we were supposed to be able to do everything on our own, and that meant that I should be able to go to school, work full time, and run a family and a household and have kids. And I learned the hard way for many, many years that that's not the case. So those societal norms are sometimes. Here's what I would say: ask yourself, is it true?
Yeah.
Is it true? Do I have to be that role? Because I tell you what, when I ask for help, I'm a better mom, I'm a better leader, I'm a better whatever. And you should be delegating the things you're not good at and letting those people, like, you're not losing out by that. You are actually helping them do what they're good at. That's what leaders do. You develop them to be leaders in their own little world. So if you can get them to do what they're good at, and then you can focus more on what you're good at, it's a win-win for everybody. So that's just an example of societal norms and then women kind of have a whole nother set of unfortunate societal stories in general that we're told. So I really encourage, be a visionary. Do not just fall for what those societal norms and whatever that BS that you might think is the way it is. It doesn't have to be.
Mhm.
Shatter the ceiling and do something different. It doesn't
I
have to be
agree,
that way.
especially creating that community with everyone so we could bounce ideas off each other, and that's kind of like Bosstrack, we're trying to create that community and bring in people like you to for insights for other people to connect with, and
Yeah.
so that's a great opportunity to get past those societal norms that might have been in place before or maybe new ones coming up.
Yep.
So that's probably
Challenge
all of
them,
our
right?
goals.
Challenge
Honestly,
them.
we really need to
Challenge them.
we need
They're
to
they
get through.
well, how are they, ask simple something I always suggest is to cultivate compassion and curiosity for yourself and for others. And the same thing is for those societal norms, like ask questions about them. Is this really working for me? Is this really working for my team? Is it working for my kids or my family or for where I want to go or how I want to live? Like just ask those questions. And does it line up with who I am, what my why is, and what my values are? Ask it, be willing to ask those questions and be willing to say, and coach when I say willing, because people will say they want something, but they're not really willing to do the freaking work and do that. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's worth it.
You have to follow through with your
You
words,
have to
right?
follow through
Or
with it. You have to take action. You can't just sit around
exactly.
journaling about what you wish would happen. And I'm all about visualizing and meditating and setting goals. But if you don't actually take action steps towards it, then the chances are you're going to stay stuck. you know?
Speaking about taking action, was there a specific moment in like your life that made you take action and really step into this wellness aspect of your life?
Well, realistically, it was like 30 years ago, when I was 20 years ago when I was 29. So was sick. I had spent most of my 20s sick. Had 9 urologists. None of them were helping. I found at a day, she's now 20. She was a newborn baby, and I couldn't take care of her. I tell the story all the time because it was an eye-opening experience. It said, "Okay, I'm
Wow.
not going to do this anymore." And I left traditional medicine and found fitness, nutrition, and meditation. And I've shifted how those look over the years, but they're the core of things that if I don't have those in my life in some capacity, I don't do well. So that was a life change. I couldn't take care of my baby when she was born. So I literally had a day that I had to call the phone and ask for help. And I just said, I don't have a choice, you know,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
That must
that
have
would
been
drive
really
me.
hard.
It was terrible. But, look now, and I didn't know at the time. I just started looking. I'm like, okay, what are the answers? If these 9 urologists don't have the answer, who has an answer? And
Yeah.
this brought me to the spiritual stuff or things was that the answers weren't outside of me, they were within me. So
Mhm.
anything I can do to support that through meditation, Kundalini yoga is one of those things I do, meditation. I find even food to be, you can have a relationship with food and your body. You should be in tune with your body. So, and I say fitness, nutrition, meditation, and I personally like to lift weights and I like to do yoga. But maybe someone likes Pilates, or maybe they like to swim or walk. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Quit judging it or quit thinking that because everyone over here is doing it. Do what you like or what your body's telling you. There's a reason it tells you that. And same with eating. Follow your intuition. Um, what's it telling you? How's it responding to when you eat this? I mean, that's, a level of emotional intelligence, self-awareness, knowing my body likes to move this way. It likes to eat this way. I feel better when I do that. And that's empowering because you can feel like a victim when you're sick. You can feel like a victim and be really, really stuck and not being able to work or not being able to take care of your kids or not being able to find the answers and being able to have that power, that capacity to own your own life again. That's good stuff.
I really agree. Especially, like, sometimes it's really hard for people to find that little bit of hope or, like, taking that first step. Would you have any tips on people who may be stuck and what that first step may look like in someone's life? Maybe not everybody's, but
Sure. Use the phrase practice the pause, like literally just stop. Like, let's just stop for a minute and take a look at where we're at. What's the reality of where I'm at? What's the reality where I want to be? And who can I ask to help me get there? Really, it can be that simple. And then you
I
find the
love that,
resources.
practice the pause.
Just practice the
That's
pause,
awesome.
pause. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What sensations? What do I really need? And it can be hard. Sometimes we're so out of touch with it. It doesn't happen. I say it like it's this nonchalant, really easy practice, but it's not always. Like I practice it and teach it, and sometimes I'm like, I don't freaking know. I don't want to deal with it, you know. But at the end of the day, like that's how you'll find the answers to that. And
I'm
that
sure plenty of us can relate to that one, and it's so simple, even, like, a little pause in our life or a little, like, blip can
a
really
little
put us
pause.
right on track.
And to breathe, just to pay attention to your breath for a few moments, even if
Mhm.
it's just one round of breath, the sense the air into your nostrils or the rise and fall of your chest or expansion, contraction of your abdomen, just that shortness will help put you in the present moment. It's very hard to make decisions on what you need to do if you're regretting the past or worried about the future, which is where most people are, regretting the past, forgetting or worried about the future. So if you can just pause for a minute and be in this moment, it's a little bit easier to have clarity. To know yourself gives you a little bit of confidence. You have some clarity and confidence, it gives you a little inkling of peace of mind. And that space, there's a neuroscience on this. There's actually, when you deactivate the amygdala through some of these practices, it opens up the space to be able to have the answer, basically. Because you can't get there if your amygdala's like, you're all stressed and
Yeah.
it's hijacked and you're emotionally reactive instead of consciously choosing. So when you can pause and learn to calm yourself, it gives you the doorway to the conscious choice
Gives
that
you a
you're
little
looking
more
for.
clarity.
Clarity. Yeah. And we all
Mhm.
have those
And
moments.
that
So
If I agree, and that can really, like, go into the workplace, like, if you're a leader, you have plenty of things on your plate, and we've already talked about that time blocking, but maybe you are doing a bunch of things that day, and time blocking just isn't an option for you, but taking a pause and finding that clarity to answer that one question or that one problem,
yeah,
that could be your solution for that day,
for
and
that day.
maybe time
Yep.
blocking is the next day.
Yep.
Just trying to figure out what works for each individual.
Definitely, and not judging it because I see a lot of a lot of people in general really critical. That's judgment. There's a quote about judgment's like the thief of joy. So you don't want to be judging it like, hey, how come they do it over this way and I can't do it that way? And like my
Mm-hmm.
time blocking looks different every day because my schedule is different. So it took me a long time to come to terms with that though, because I wanted it to look this very specific way. And I have a colleague who's like, "Oh, I only do my networking on Mondays." And I'm like, "What the heck I can't get my networking?" I'm like, I'm all scattered all over the place. So I was really flustered and I was like, okay, your time blocking is not going to look like this person. So how do you how do you make it work for you? You know,
Yes.
how do you get the things done and still feel good about it for you without looking at, oh my gosh, how did they figure it out and I can't figure it out sort of thing.
No, that's a
You
great
know,
point. Comparing and judging, especially nowadays with all the social media
social
going on,
media.
it is insane. Everyone just looks at another page and is like, oh, I wish I could do it like that. But
It doesn't
honestly,
really
that
look like
person
that.
could be looking at someone else's saying the exact same thing. No one is
Exactly.
really happy with what they're doing. It's kind of like the grass is always greener on the other side. So once we're able
Exactly.
to take that control, it's a whole new story.
Definitely. Yes.
I agree. I agree. Alrighty. Well, coming to a little bit of a conclusion, would you like to add any last minute points, tips, and tricks for anyone?
I just summarized by remembering, to align with your core values, your why, to take time for yourself, that it does matter, that you need that to build up those reserves. So when something does go wrong, it's not self care is not selfish. It is preservation, self preservation, and it's needed in order to be your best self. And that's what we all want to do is be our best selves. And there's a quote about health is wealth, and it sounds corny, but it's
Yes.
true. And if you don't take time, and again, these aren't my quotes, so don't quote me on these, but I'm paraphrasing. If you don't take care of your well being, you'll be forced to take care of your sickness. So it's super important to just do it. Ask for help, um, develop, those skills to emotional intelligence, self awareness, and be able to take care of yourself. So at its simplest, practice the pause and cultivate compassion and curiosity. So I'd like to leave it with that. And thank
Oh,
you.
that's amazing. Oh, no, we loved having you on here. Um, as like Boss Track and myself, Kayla, we do recognize true leadership and encompass that more than professional achievements can happen through wellness and leadership. And kind of like what you were saying, health is wealth. Wellness is also not just a luxury, it's an essential ingredient for leadership growth and success.
Yes.
So, leading myself on that, how would people be able to get in touch with you if they
There's a
want have any further questions?
Sure. My name, Amy McKay at amymckay.com is my email. I'm on LinkedIn more than any other social media. And there's a new website, but the old one is still there. It's my name at amymckay.com, but a new one will be up any day now. But feel free to reach out with questions. I'm happy to reply to emails or even do Zoom chats if somebody needs some extra resources. Or I have so many audios and videos and things that I've created that I'm happy to share them and any other or direct somebody in the right direction, to someone else that might have more insight for them. So happy to do that.
Oh, that is so amazing. Thank you, Amy McKay,
Thank
for
you.
being here. And if anyone else has any more questions, feel free to reach out, comment on our post. Amy McKay will be on top of it in case she
Mhm.
has any answers to your questions, and I will be on top of it as well. Please feel free to check out Boss Track at www.thebosstrack.com. And thank you so much all for checking in. Have a good one, and we'll get back to you next time. Bye.